Now you may ask, what is luck? By luck, I didn't mean by the super lotto. I tried a few times, but never won a single dollar. But recently, my former student, taught me how to use WeChat. You know, Chinese New Year, and if you're in a chat group, people will give hongbao, right? So in the old Chinese days, you wrap some money in a red bag, but now we do that electronically. So I learned how to accept money and then return money to the chat groups. So I learned how to get some money from that. Okay, so that was just early last week. But luck to me means that being at the right place at the right time and being prepared when opportunity knocks. As Lisa said, I grew up in Hunan, China, actually in the countryside in a small village. And then in 1979, I went to college. I actually remember the days where two of my high school friends and myself each carried our luggage on a stick. Those of you who are older here today, you all remember the old China, right? So you have your luggage and then you have a stick that were made of bamboo. So we get on the bus and then get on the train. And then after several days, we finally got to Beijing. And then we took another train, then I got to Tianjin. So that's the start of my college career. Many of you will agree that coming to America, we come here to pursue our dreams. Some dreams come true, some don't, right? So what's your dream? Remember that song? Did I have a dream? I earlier told you that I didn't. My plan when I first arrived in the state was to get my PhD and then return to China. But things changed, so I stayed. But when I first arrived, I made a conscious decision. That is, I had to improve my English. I had a very simple idea that, looking back, I think I was actually intuitive and programmatic. So I thought after 4 years of study, and then I will return to China, teaching or working. No one knew how good I am technically. But the one thing that my colleagues will ask me was to be an interpreter, translate English to Chinese and so on. So that would be the first impression that I will make to my colleagues and friends and visitors from the United States, right? So that was my ambition. Make sure I get my degree and then study English so that when I get back being a professor, then I can be a good translator for people who will be visiting. That was my dream, very simple. But after my master's degree and PhD from Michigan, I stayed on as a faculty member, getting tenure and promotion. So that was the process of surviving. So the first 10 to 15 years, that was the daily struggle. You know, getting your degree, writing papers, and then write papers, more papers, so we can get tenure. Okay, so that's the first phase. After my promotion to full professor, I took on various service and leadership roles. In academia, I think it's the same like in General Motors. If you do well in services, you will be asked to do more. That is exactly what happened to me. So the second 15 years is a phase where I think I thrived on the various leadership opportunities. So I want to reflect on a few of those occasions where I was faced with the fork of road, and then how did I embrace those. So in particular, I will reflect on three things. So how we can be prepared for opportunities, and then how do you thrive on an opportunity if you're having one, and then if you never face a new opportunity, and then how do you create your own. So first, being prepared for an opportunity. That is, when opportunities knock, and then are you ready? Okay, so that is the first point. As Lisa mentioned, my appointment as Vice President for Research was made in 2013 by former President Mary Sue Coleman. So I want to start just talking a little bit about how she and I worked together and how did she get to know me. In 2011, I think it was June 2011. So I was at a conference at Oregon State University. That's the North American Manufacturing Research Conference. On the final day of the conference, we are done with technical sessions, and then a friend of mine and I went to play golf. In the middle of our round, I got a frantic call from a department chair from the College of Engineering at Michigan. His name is Kanil Najafi. So Kanil called me and then said, Jack, I need your help. I think you are the right person. If you are not, you know who the right person is. And then he started telling me the story. What happened was President Obama wanted to start a partnership, which was called the Advanced Manufacturing Partnership. So you first invite the CEOs, so U of M President Mary Sue Coleman was invited. You know, the president doesn't know much about manufacturing, of course, and then you need a technical person to work with her. Because the MIT provost was a man's person or micro-electromechanical systems researcher. So they automatically invited my electrical engineering department chair. So after about 2 conference calls, then Kanil said, Jack, I don't think I'm the right person. I think you are. If you are not, then you know who the right person is. So I stopped my golf in the middle of the round and then went back to work with some of the Michigan faculty who stayed at the conference. So we said, let's prepare something for President Coleman so that she can send it to the White House. So we highlight the manufacturing achievements, research and education, and then I called that document Nuggets for Obama. So that generated a lot of interest from the President and her communications team. And a few days later, when President Obama announced the manufacturing partnership at Carnegie Mellon University, so he invited the principals or the president and CEOs, and then usually the protocol is called 1+1. So the CEO and the university president each can bring another person. So Mary Sue invited me to go with her. So that was the start of my working with the university president directly. So I think when opportunity comes like that, you want to be ready and make an impression. So the second point I want to reference is to be able to recognize an opportunity. So during the course of the manufacturing partnership, I traveled to the White House quite a few times. Sometimes it was with President Coleman. During one trip in the fall of 2011, there were 2 meetings scheduled. So first it was the steering committee meeting. So the CEOs and the university president and then the technical people made the presentation on our recommendations. And then in the afternoon, we had what's called a operations committee scheduled. But after the morning meeting, President Coleman came to me and said, Jack, do you want to go back with me to Ann Arbor? So my first reaction was, I had another meeting, how can I go with you? Because I have the operations committee meeting. But after a few minutes, she came back and said, don't you want to go with me? At that time, I realized, such a nice opportunity, why don't I, right? I said, of course, of course. So I said, let's go. And then I went with her and then sat in her car and then I called my secretary. I said, can you change my flight? I'm coming back with the president. So if you think you can have 5 hours traveling with your CEO, right? So how rare an opportunity that is. So we talked on the way to the airport, at the lounge, on the plane, and then on the way back to Ann Arbor. So 5 hours of conversation with your CEO is very rare. So to be able to recognize such an opportunity and then take advantage of that. Thriving on an opportunity. So if you are given an opportunity to serve in a leadership role, you must commit and dedicate yourself. Now, our older generation all can remember what Chairman Mao used to say, right? Serve the people, heart and soul. Remember that? So if you are given an opportunity, that's what you should do. Not half-hearted. So I think that's exactly what I did during my first 2 years of appointment. So my first 2 years was interim because President Coleman was on her way to retirement. She did not want to appoint someone long-term so that she will give the new president a chance to appoint his own team. So when the search for the vice president began last year, our new president spelled out a number of desired personal and professional characteristics for the new vice president for research. Those included a high degree of intellectual curiosity, extending to disciplines beyond one's own. U of M is very diverse, very comprehensive. So if a vice president is only interested in his or her own area, then you cannot really support the other disciplines. So that's a very important characteristic. Absolute integrity, sense of humor, energy, altruism, taking great joy in bringing value to others' work. High respect of and for colleagues, charisma, ability to sell ideas, incisiveness and decisiveness. So it's hard to find all those in one person, but in the end, I got a job. So many of these characteristics, if I can just simply characterize them as EQ, emotional quotient, or emotional intelligence, that can serve you very well if you are in a leadership position. We're all very smart, right? Many of you have PhDs. But I think it's the emotional intelligence that are really the most important thing when you're in a leadership position. I just want to highlight two particular aspects. One is have a sense and sensibility to be observant, understand what is going on with your people and the organization, to be able to quickly get to the root cause if you see a problem. So if you take a lot of time to get to the root cause, then the problem can become much more cascaded to crisis. Okay? So stop the problem or solve the problem when it's at the infant stage. So that's very important. Understand people and put your interest in them. Put your interest in people above things. So that is very important. When you try to solve an issue or solve a problem, consider the interest of the people who are with you or work for you. Also, it's very important to have a sense of humor and also community. We are in a tense situation. A story, a joke, can go a long way to break the ice or reduce the intensity. Being arrogant does not help in academia because everyone is smart, right? Everyone is a PhD and some has multiple degrees. So you earn respect of the faculty by serving them. Finally, creating your own opportunities. You may say opportunities have never been nice to me. I had my doors open, but I have not seen an opportunity. If this is the case, why not try to create your own? Lisa mentioned that my first leadership role was Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Education. In fact, that was a position I think I created for myself. So when our dean first started in July 2016, he was assembling his leadership team. So around December, I got a call. He said, research, graduate education, or a combination. So I said, if you're just looking for someone for research, I may not be the best. If you're looking for someone just for graduate education, I may not be the best either. However, if you combine the two positions into one, you can't find anyone better than me. And that's exactly. So as a new dean, he needed to show that he is reducing administration. And that was exactly what he did, and that was the job I got. So that was my start of a senior leadership role in the College of Engineering, and then that gave me opportunity to serve the faculty and then gradually get even bigger responsibilities. So in summary, I have been very lucky with all the opportunities I was presented, and being lucky means being prepared. It's important that we recognize the opportunity and embrace each and every opportunity that we are presented with. I hope we all continue to thrive in this great land of opportunities. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to speak to you tonight, and once again, Happy New Year. Thank you.